there, Gauchos. Happy week 9. Maddie here, UCSB TV producer. As final season is starting to ramp up, our campus seems distressed for more reasons than just school. These last couple of weeks in the Santa Barbara area have been filled with disturbing events. This episode, we're going to be talking about these events. As a warning, we will be discussing the details that include violence and/or non-consensual acts. If you're interested in hearing more, our news anchor Alexandra Goldberg will give you the breakdown of what's been plaguing our community recently. Alexandra?
Thanks, Maddie. Today we are taking a look into the recent criminal cases that left UCSB students and the surrounding community distraught. For your warning, this episode will contain details of non-consensual recording and violence. On February 15th, the Isla Vista Foot Patrol arrested suspect Justin Asinobi for allegedly putting hidden recording devices in the victim's bathroom on Madrid Road. Now, this hidden video camera was disguised as an air freshener, something you might typically find in an average bathroom. And at approximately 3:33 p.m. on the 15th, deputies arrested Asinobi for invasion of privacy by means of an electronic device, a misdemeanor, and eavesdropping, a felony. Upon arriving at Asinobi's house, deputies took possession of the objects they believed to be suspicious recording devices. The suspect is being held at the Santa Barbara County Jail with an enhanced bail of $400,000. Deputies are encouraging anyone with additional information to contact IV Foot Patrol. Now, who was the suspect in our community? Asinobi was involved with UCSB's Associated Students by serving as the Disability Community Public Relations Officer for CODE, also known as the Commission on Disability Equality. He also had a position as Finance Director of the AS Food Bank, according to the Daily Nexus. UCSB students might recognize him more publicly through his Twitter account @JadedJustin. Asinobi's personal account has over 1,600 followers where he tweets and retweets popular memes and UCSB-related posts. But unfortunately, that wasn't the only groundbreaking news to hit our community last week. Last Friday, the 18th, deputies arrived on scene at around 10:53 p.m. to the 6-5 block of Del Playa Drive for a shooting that left one victim seriously injured. The victim was shot in the upper torso and hospitalized, while the suspect fled the scene, according to the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. The suspect has not been taken into custody and the investigation is ongoing. Detectives are encouraging anyone with information to come forward to the Santa Barbara Sheriff's detectives. Today I am here with Officer Justin Schroeder, IV Community Resource Deputy. Officer Schroeder, how did this case get brought to your attention?
I'm assuming we're talking about the case where the suspect was filming people inside their houses, I would imagine. That case was brought to our attention by a local Isla Vista resident who went and used their restroom and noticed kind of a interesting looking device that they hadn't seen before. And the device looked like the square end of a USB charger without the cord plugged in. So it was just the square block that was plugged into an outlet, but there was a little circle on it. And so they kind of looked at it, didn't think anything of it at first. But after a while, they asked the roommates, hey, is this your charging block? Hey, is this your charging block? And nobody claimed ownership of it. And so they took a closer look. And when they got really close to this charging block, they noticed that circle kind of looked like a camera. And so what they did is they called us and turned that into us. And we did an inspection on the device and noticed that it actually was a camera built into that USB or what looked like a USB charging block. So that's how the case was presented to us.
And now, can you walk us through the night of the arrest?
So again, I mentioned earlier, I can't go into too many specific details about what the person told us because it is an ongoing investigation. So that afternoon, some of the deputies, myself included, went to talk to a person who we just saw on the video there and ask him some questions about if he was the person who placed this device and what was going on here. Again, I won't go into the exact questioning, but throughout that interview, this person did admit to being placing the devices inside these houses, and he was arrested on various misdemeanor and felony charges.
And then how did you feel responding to this case?
Sure. I've been in law enforcement now 16 years, and so my emotional response generally isn't too high to any case, whether it be a shooting or a case like this. I try to stay calm and not let things get to me emotionally. However, I have been here in Isla Vista for over 6 years now and dealt with a lot of different issues and problems. And I immediately knew that this was kind of a different case than I've dealt with out here and been a part of. And privacy and security is such a big thing to people, especially inside their own homes. And so when I kind of heard what was happening here, that just kind of shocked me. And I knew it would shock and disturb a lot of people out here in Isla Vista. And so we wanted to make sure we took this case very seriously. We wanted to make sure that we did everything right for prosecution in the long run, which again, unfortunately, is why I can't talk too much at this time, because again, this is just such a major crime in my opinion. And we need to make sure something like this doesn't happen and this person is held accountable for that crime. Again, personally, not a huge emotional response because I try to stay calm, but I can feel for all those people who have been calling, and many people from Isla Vista have been calling in that may have noticed a suspicious device in their house, or just feel like that person may have come to a party at their house or something like that. So a lot of people are scared, and as they should be.
And officer, what public information can you share to better inform the public on this case?
I believe UCSB actually put out some kind of a document recently, basically warning the public about what was happening here, and then giving some tips on what they could do to protect themselves. And so I think that's a really important document. It goes into how to kind of look for these devices. Number one is just, if you notice something suspicious in your own house, make sure you investigate that. Your first thought shouldn't be, oh, it's just my roommates, or oh, it's just my friends. That person should really look into a device that they see and inspect it closely. Anything with a camera is generally going to have a circular lens on it. And so if you look closely and you notice that reflective lens, or if you turn off the lights and notice maybe a little blue light or a little red light on there, that might be a device. And so really kind of look around your house, especially in your private areas like your bedroom and your bathroom, and just make sure there's not something like that in your house. Secondly, just general public safety, because we've had a lot of issues recently here in Isla Vista, even the shooting last weekend, is just be careful who you're inviting into your houses. I mean, that's a message we kind of give all year, every year, but I think now it's more important than ever, with COVID going around, with the shooting, with this case, everything else. It just doesn't seem like a really good time to invite 100, 200 random strangers into your house. So have your parties, have fun. Isla Vista is a great, fun place, but just know the people who you're inviting into your house to have these parties would be some advice I'd like to give.
And there's been some conversation in the community regarding Asinobi's charges. Can you explain why he got both a misdemeanor and a felony?
So ultimately, the difference between a misdemeanor and a felony charge is going to be determined by the district attorney who's prosecuting this case. When he was arrested, we arrest people on what's called probable cause. And so we have cause to believe that they probably committed that crime, and we arrest them for it. And so at the time, there was a misdemeanor charge, which is basically the invasion of privacy and filming people in their bathrooms. And then there was a felony charge that dealt with listening into private conversations. So maybe there were 2 or 3 people having a private conversation, and that device caught the conversation, which is a felony. And so he was arrested on those 2 charges. Now, as additional evidence is found, I know that both our detectives and the district attorney's office are getting search warrants for the various devices and hard drives and things like that. And so if they uncover additional evidence, of course, there could be more charges, or if they find evidence that there's not enough to prove a case, then charges could be dropped. And so, yes, the initial arrest was 1 felony and 1 misdemeanor, but that can change greatly as the case goes on.
And now, how is UCSB and the community responding?
Yeah, so like you said, that document was put out. I'm currently working with the University Police Department and their community outreach team to come up with some kind of a messaging campaign. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet. Of course, in the past, we've done various keep it local campaigns and things like that. And so I think it will be a version. And I kind of explained in a previous question some of the messaging about keeping your parties local, knowing who you're inviting into your house and things like that. So I think it's going to be a messaging campaign in that direction, but we haven't finalized it yet. So yes, look for that in the future, hopefully in the next week or two. But with all of these cases going on, we've just been swamped with investigations and things like that.
And beyond the press release, has there been any updates with Asinobi's case that we should know?
Yes, so the information on Twitter is correct. He was released, I believe, yesterday from the jail. That doesn't have any bearing on the prosecution in the case. And so, of course, like I mentioned, the search warrants are being gathered. All the devices will be analyzed and all the videos looked at. And if somebody is caught in a video and they're a victim in this case, they'll be contacted by our detective unit. A lot of people, like I said, have called in and generated reports because they may be a victim in this case. And so all those folks will be contacted if they are a victim. There's no real other updates at this time, other than the work is continuing and it will be turned over to the district attorney's office for prosecution. If people do think that they could be a victim, we do want them to call in or come into the Isla Vista Foot Patrol station, though. We want people to feel as safe as possible, and if they are caught on one of these videos, we want them to know about it, and we want justice to be served.
That was Officer Justin Schroeder, IV Community Resource Deputy, speaking with UCSB TV. Thanks, Justin. It has been a disturbing week for the UCSB community surrounding the severity of these crimes. Resources for counseling and support are available through UCSB's campus for students. Though this week's episode discusses heavier topics in our community, UCSB TV is keeping you updated and informed on all things you need to know. With UCSB TV, I'm Alexandra Goldberg. Back to you, Maddie.
Thank you, Alexandra. I want to throw up those numbers again for the health and wellness resources on campus. If you are struggling, confused, depressed, lonely, scared, we understand. UCSB is here for you during these frankly disturbing times. Call the numbers below if you need a little extra support to navigate the day. Here's to hoping we can wrap up the quarter in a safer, happier, and healthier way. Stay safe, Gauchos, and remember to check out the link below if you're interested in joining the UCSB TV team next year. We have positions available for a sports anchor, news anchor, videographer, and editor. And with that, UCSB TV brings a close to our winter episodes. Stay tuned on our Instagram for more updates on the stories discussed today, as well as our hiring process. We'll see you in spring. I'm Maddie Whalen, UCSB TV.